Today, we're unpacking what is honestly football's absolute biggest, most emotional roller coaster story, the complete history of Cristiano Ronaldo. And look, we aren't just going to sit here and tally up his trophies or talk about his impossible goal records. Instead, we're tracking an unparalleled rise from absolute extreme poverty to the literal pinnacle of global sports. It's a story packed with devastating setbacks, immense triumphs, and some truly profound personal loss. Let's get right into it.
Zero. That is exactly how much wealth Ronaldo's family had when the story began. Born back in 1985 in Lisbon, Portugal, Ronaldo was brought into a fiercely difficult life. His father, José Diniz, was a kit man for a local club, and his mother was just doing whatever she could to get by. Imagine this, right? The entire family lived crammed into a tiny one-room apartment. Ronaldo shared this single room with his older siblings, and the reality was incredibly bleak. There were days with absolutely no food to eat, no safety net, zero guarantees. Just a desperate daily fight to survive.
Okay, let's dive into this. $200 million. That is Cristiano Ronaldo's current yearly salary playing for Al-Nassr. It's an almost incomprehensible leap from that one-room apartment, isn't it? Well, this explainer is all about bridging the massive gap between these two wildly different realities. How does a boy with literally nothing transform himself into a one-man global empire? You've got this stark contrast. On one side, hunger, hardship, and a daily struggle just to survive. On the other side, you have the status of a global icon who can afford his own private island. The single bridge between that crushing poverty and limitless wealth? Of football. Football was literally his one and only escape from those early desperate troubles. Basically, as soon as he could walk, Ronaldo used the football to tune out all the hardship going on around him. He spent countless hours every single day out in the streets just putting in the hard yards. He obviously didn't know it yet, but this raw, relentless street practice was forging the exact skills that would bring him a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity. It's amazing to think about, really. Kicking a battered ball on the pavement was literally paving his way out, because eventually a local scout took notice and offered him a chance to trial for the Sporting Lisbon Academy. It was a massive door finally cracking open. But getting in wasn't guaranteed. On the day of the final trial, the scout walked in and laid down a very simple rule. Whoever scores the most goals, that's the person we pick. Just one spot. As soon as Ronaldo heard that, he was totally locked in. He went out and scored a goal. But there was a massive problem. Another kid on his team, Albert, had already scored 2. The tension in this trial was just incredible. We come down to the final minutes of the game. Both Ronaldo and Albert break through on goal together. Albert actually goes around the goalkeeper. He has a completely empty net right in front of him. He could just shoot, secure his third goal, and easily take that life-changing academy spot all for himself. So what did he do?
In an act of unbelievable unselfishness, Albert decided to pass the ball to Ronaldo instead. Ronaldo tapped it in. And because of that one pass, Ronaldo got the contract. Think about that for a second. That single moment, that single choice by a teammate, secured Ronaldo's spot at Sporting. It changed the entire trajectory of his life, pulling him one massive step further away from the poverty he grew up in.
And man, once his foot was in the door, his ascent was explosive. Day 1, Ronaldo puts in an absolute masterclass in a friendly against Manchester United. He had the entire United defense on strings. By the evening of that very same day, legendary manager Sir Alex Ferguson had seen enough and called Ronaldo's agent. Just days later, Ronaldo was off to England, signing a staggering $19 million deal with Manchester United. For Ronaldo, this wasn't just about football anymore. This meant he could finally afford to take his family off the streets and buy them a real home. Sir Alex's belief in this young kid was absolute. When Ronaldo arrived, he actually asked for the number 28, but Sir Alex said no, and instead handed him the club's heaviest, most legendary shirt, number 7, the very jersey worn by legends like David Beckham and Eric Cantona, the birth of CR7. Now, it wasn't instantly glamorous. On the pitch, Ronaldo had a bit of a slow start. Some of his own teammates even labeled him a kid who just loved dribbling a bit too much. But remember where he came from. He was fighting for his family's future, and there was absolutely no way he was letting go of this lifeline. But just when things were finally looking up, Ronaldo's world crashed down. His father, José Diniz, fell severely ill. Growing up, his dad was so burdened by his inability to provide for the family that he turned to drinking, which tragically led to fatal liver issues. Ronaldo rushed to the hospital and promised to do everything he could to keep him alive. But days later, his father passed away. It completely shattered him. But in that dark hospital room, realizing his mother and siblings were all he had left, Ronaldo made another promise: to become
the best player in the world, just to see his family happy. That tragedy really birthed an untouchable elite mentality in him. Just look at how he fulfilled that promise. The 2007-2008 season was historic. He scored a record 31 league goals. He was the Champions League top scorer. He won the Champions League trophy itself, and to cap it all off, he won his first Ballon d'Or, officially making him the best footballer on the planet. The emotional release of that moment was profound. He had kept his word to his father.
From there, his evolution continued at a breakneck pace. From the absolute heartbreak of losing the 2004 Euros on home turf, he used that pain to shift into another gear, becoming Portugal's captain by 2008. Then in 2009, he broke the world record to become the most expensive footballer on the planet with a massive transfer to Real Madrid. During this time, he also welcomed his first son, Cristiano Jr. He was ready to start his own family and build a true footballing dynasty in Spain. Now, what's really interesting about this slide is how his time at Real Madrid ultimately changed the club's entire history. Before his breakthrough season there, Madrid had been suffering a grueling 11-year Champions League trophy drought, dating all the way back to 2002. Even with Ronaldo there initially, they just couldn't get the job done. But in the 2013 to 2014 season, Ronaldo decided enough was enough. He absolutely shattered the record for the most goals in a single Champions League campaign with 16 goals, dragging Madrid to absolute glory and securing another Ballon d'Or for himself. Yet, while he was this unstoppable force for his club, his international career was full of heartbreak. We're talking group stage exits in the 2010 and 2014 World Cups and a semifinal exit in the 2012 Euros. People really doubted he could ever win with Portugal. But then came the 2016 Euros. He dragged a totally unfancy Portugal team all the way to the final. And then tragedy struck again. He was subbed off injured early in the final match. He was in tears, but his teammates rallied for a surprise 1-0 victory. The hungry kid from the one-room apartment in Madeira had finally led his country to its first ever major trophy. The final chapters of his European career were intensely turbulent. In 2018, he left for Juventus to conquer Italy, but faced 3 consecutive early Champions League knockouts. In 2021, he made this internet-breaking return to Manchester United. The 2022 brought unimaginable personal tragedy, the devastating passing of his newborn son Angel, which Ronaldo described as the worst heartbreak of his life. Following friction with a new manager and a highly controversial interview, his United contract was terminated. After a final unsuccessful last dance at the Qatar World Cup, a lot of people thought the story was over. But then, in 2023, he shocked the world by signing with Al-Nassr. Which brings us full circle back to this staggering number: $200 million a year. It is absolutely vital to remember what this wealth actually means in the context of his life. It belongs to a man who used to sweep the streets for a game of football just to forget his empty stomach. The boy who relied on the charity of a teammate's pass just to get a chance in an academy now literally earns enough to buy his own island.
He truly made it out. So, as we wrap up this remarkable journey, I really want to leave you with a final thought. When history looks back at Cristiano Ronaldo, what truly defines his legacy? Is it the impossible goal-scoring records, the Ballon d'Ors and the Champions League trophies? Or is the true magnitude of his greatness found in the extreme, suffocating poverty he managed to escape in order to achieve them? Thank you so much for joining me for this explainer. Keep learning, and I'll catch you in the next one.